Digimon Storytime Stranger has been out for a bit, and I've never played a Digimon game before, so I wanted to see if it was possible to be a Digimon Storytime Stranger Nuzlocke. As always, the rules for the challenge will be in the description. Will I be able to survive this digital world, or will I get lost and never be seen again? Let's find out. Our journey starts in the Higashi Shinjuku Vision Square. Our first mission requires us to investigate an area with high anomalies. As I make my way to the coordinates, I find a section of the city walled off and a huge crowd. Surely this is fine. I get past the protesters and suddenly a woman screams as the ground shakes, which works in my favor since the Special Force soldier is no longer blocking the entrance to the sewers. See ya, sucker. I'm then greeted by some aggressive Digimons and need to choose my starter. I choose Patamon since Patamon can become a very useful support Digimon. I encountered a Gatsumon and with one air shot it goes down. Another tremor occurs and all of a sudden a giant metal Greymon Blue shows up and attacks me. I dodged its attacks and a mysterious girl called out to me and helped me escape. Sheesh. What the heck is going on here? She then seems very calm and used to this and supposedly knows me. Obviously confused, I asked if she had called for help and what she's doing here.
What do you mean? I was trying to catch up with you, of course.
What do you mean you were trying to catch up to us?
Hey, where did he go? Wasn't he with you?
Who's he?
Well, maybe he went on ahead. Come on, we need to hurry up to the roof of the government building.
Also, how does she know what we're supposed to do? I bluntly ask who she is.
Seriously, what's with you? I mean, isn't a war supposed to break out? We have to get to the roof of the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building.
What's with me? Bruh, I don't know you. Even the operator is confused. Oh well, to the top of the building we go. I break a door down with Patamon. I added Agumon Black and Gabumon Black to my team, in which I got them from pre-ordering the game. As we head out, Metal Greymon Blue appears. Well, we're doomed. Then our hero, Omnimon, appears to help us fight off Metal Greymon.
Have no fear, students. Because I am here!
So Digimon is really cool about you having to figure out what Digimon are weak to. Each Digimon has an attribute and element weakness. So an ice attack from Gabumon is good since Metal Greymon is weak to ice. Patamon was not good for this fight at all, since it didn't have any attacks that were effective against it. Agumon Black could only use a regular attack, which didn't do much. Everyone got attacked by Metal Greymon and Patamon took a big chunk of damage. Omnimon definitely carried this fight. I healed Patamon up. The fight pretty much continues the same and Omnimon finishes it off. Omnimon leaves and we continue to the roof. Koromon is a free convert, so I'm considering it as a gift Digimon. Around the entrance of the government building, I fought a Wanyamon and then converted it. As we continue upwards, this massive robot shows up out of nowhere. And destroys part of the building.
Bruh.
What the heck is happening? I found a Biomon and help free him. I asked him to help me fly over. He mentions that he could try since I cleared the rubble and then feels like he's seen me before. I don't think we've met, my guy. I then convert Impmon as my upper floor convert. We start flying over but aren't able to make it to the other side. I then get to the roof where I see a bunch of Digimon fighting and all of a sudden a Quagamon attacks me. Quagamon is considered to be the first boss fight. Quagamon is another virus Digimon, so yeah, I had to watch Patamon's health like a hawk. Patamon's attacks don't do much to it. Gabumon's are neutral, but Agumon Black are effective. I use my cross art, boosting all of my Digimon stats. Patamon gets low on health, and I switch him with Impmon. After several turns pass, I get him down to about half health, and it gets a speed boost. Brother. Gabumon also gets low on health, so I switched him with Wanyamon. Unfortunately, Wanyamon dies. I bring Koromon out. I boost their stats again with the cross art. Hitmon is the next to fall. Not much longer, everyone dies. Attempt 2. This time I evolve Koromon into Agumon. This way I have a vaccine fire Digimon. The fight goes a lot smoother, although I made a misplay by using my cross art before switching Gabumon with Impmon, because now Impmon doesn't have the stat boost. Oops. Luckily Quagamon went down and everyone survived this time. A shadow figure shows up out of nowhere, throws me out of the way, and tries to reach the girl. Just for the giant robot to appear and tries to grab her as well. And then we enter this huge movie cutscene. Now, keep that giant golden hand in the back of your mind. Once I woke up, I somehow ended up in the digital world and the shadow appeared as well. Bruh. Can you go the frick away? It tries to take an important egg and I tackle it. The egg gets knocked down and the floor collapses. And I end up back in the human world. Something doesn't seem right. I noticed a man having an issue with the public safety, closing off an area, primarily because his daughter is in the area that's closed off. I find him by the entrance to the sewers and offer to help him. We find a friend of his daughter named Hiroko, and she goes on about trying to get a viral video. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. She's completely an absolute cringe. While in the south block of the sewers, I defeated a Pokemon and converted it. We find his daughter in Nori. Wait, but you disappeared. Huh? Anyways, a strong Digimon shows up and yeah, it gave me a run for my money.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
So after some grinding, I evolved Wanyamon into Gaiomon. I took it on again and it still put up a fight. The poison made the fight very difficult. Impmon unfortunately died during the fight. With one last pepper breath, Agumon defeats this Raremon. The man with glasses invites me to come rest at their house. In the morning, Inori gave me a proper introduction. The operator then informed me that I've traveled through time. Wow, what a shocker. I digivolve Bukamon into Gizamon. In the morning, Inori's dad wanted to meet with me. He asked me some questions.
So, who exactly are you working for?
Well, that was a loaded question. I tell him that I can't answer that question, and the conversation goes on about me investigating the Digimon behaviors essentially. While investigating, I discovered the entry to the Between Theater. I meet Mirai, and she informed me about this place. The next day, Hiroko is back wanting to do more of her cringe shenanigans.
No! No! No!
Despite how cringe her videos are, I tag along. We enter the North Block, I defeat a Sunomon and convert it. We found the Digimon Inori was protecting earlier and Hiroko scares it. Bruh.
You stupid!
We find him again and another big Digimon shows up.
Hello?
Cyclone Mon wasn't very difficult. Agumon being a vaccine type was pretty effective as well since Cyclone Mon is a virus. During the fight, Ku gets hurt and from Inori's love and a desire to protect her, he digivolves into Agiomon, which just speeds up this fight and shortly we beat it. We head back and Agiomon sleeps on the couch. Inori's dad comes in and is pretty chill about seeing Agiomon. I digivolve Sunomon into Gabumon. We then enter the park and Kosuke introduces us to Dr. Simmons. We agree to help her with some experiments. Once we finished the experiments, Agiomon played with some kids. The next day, Agiomon insists on going to the park again so he can play with the kids again. When we get there though, the kids have gone missing. We find a weird gate to a weird in-between dimension. We then find two Vademons trying to eat the kids. Vademon is a virus Digimon and they nearly killed Gaiomon. Pepper Breath from Agumon did a little bit of damage to one of the Vademons, so this will be a long fight. I swapped Gaiomon with Agumon Black. Agiomon was also very helpful since he's a vaccine Digimon. I boosted their stats with my cross art, which significantly helped the damage output, allowing me to take Vademon A out. Vademon B did a character reversal, making my vaccine Digimon attacks non-effective. However, I swapped Agumon with Patamon, and now Patamon's attacks are effective. Weird. After several turns, Patamon finishes Vademon B off. The Vademon still tries to go after the kids, and Agiomon protects them. While doing so, his hat falls off, and the kids get scared. Bruh, he literally just saved y'all. Agiomon then gets mad, depressed. Luckily, Inori helps cheer him up. The next day, I start heading out to the next anomaly and run into the boy who came to give Agiomon a gift. Right, this totally isn't an apology. We get to the spot and a portal appears with Minervamon and a giant blue Greymon. Well, I think we know where this is going. Unfortunately, Gizamon dies during the fight. Aside from that, the fight was pretty easy. Afterwards, we ran away from the scene. Totally not suspicious, we head back to the hub. Minervamon asks us to help her with her mission, and we agree to help her. What's the mission? Who knows? I digivolve Agumon into Greymon, Patamon into Angemon, Gabumon into Garurumon, and Gaiomon into Strikemon. The following day, Minervamon finds out that Agiomon wasn't born in the digital world and finds that strange. Minervamon is on a search for an item. Yeah, it's probably that egg that disappeared. Agiomon recommends that we visit Dr. Simmons to see if she can help us locate it. We go to the park where her van is at, but she's not there. So we head to the shopping area and find her. She tells us that she could help us, but would need our help to solve an issue. We find the agents that are in distress. Apparently a Digimon stole the activation switch. We enter another outer dungeons area. The thieves turn out to be the Black Gatomons. We beat some of them up. I farmed a Tyrannomon and converted it. We then find the 3 Black Gatomons with the switch. After beating them up, we return the switch to the agents. Dr. Simmons then upgrades my communicator to help us detect the egg Minervamon is searching for. We then discover that a hotspot of Digimon is located in the underground under the park. The following day, we head out and Hiroko joins us. She then sees a shadowy figure. Hey, wait a minute. Hiroko passes out. Well, at least we won't be in a cringy video. We find the egg and it's been opened, and Agiomon realizes that this was where he was born. Once the connections started to come together, we're then attacked by Tidamon. Yeah, this fight was another humbling fight and I got completely wrecked. Now this fight is technically not mandatory to win, but I didn't want to be stuck with one Digimon, so yeah, new attempt. This time I trained my Digimon up and evolved Gabumon Black into Garurumon Black and Agumon Black into Greymon Blue. I also got my cross art to be ready for the fight. Titamon attacks first and did a lot of damage to Garurumon Black. I buffed my Digimons and healed Garurumon with Agiomon's heal skill. I used Garurumon Black to lower Titamon's defensive stat. Fire and vaccine attacks were really effective. Minervamon helped a lot too. The fight continues for a bit. Once around a quarter of Titamon's health, I swap Garurumon Black with Garurumon and continue to attack with fire attacks. Not much longer, we beat Titamon and end up in an unknown area. We find an entrance and discover that we're in the digital world. We explored the village a little and talked to some shop merchants. Dang man, you have some nice headphones. I wonder where I can get some. Well, wonder no more, people. I've been using these Razer headphones for almost 2 years now, and they are absolutely my favorite pair I've owned. If you're curious, I'll throw them down in the description and a couple of other things that I use down in the description. Anyways, back to the video. While exploring, we find a hangout area that's connected to where their leader is located, but we need to prove that we're friends with Minervamon, so we go look for her. When we leave, we see a confrontation between Chronomon and the Bearmons, and then they leave. We make a deal to help Lunamon with following Chronomon, and in return, she'll look for Minervamon. We head down these sewers and find the little Bearmon, who asks us to go help his brother with the Titans. I also converted a Doraemon. I digivolved Tyrannomon into Dracomon. Then I digivolved Doraemon into Dorumon. We find them and the Titans. Agiomon and I step in and challenge the Titans. I start the fight with my cross art, boosting my Digimon stats. I used Garurumon Black to lower Hyugamon, and since he seems to be an ice variant, I had Strikemon use a fire attack and it did some decent damage. Greymon brings Hyugamon down to about half. Minervamon then shows up and joins the fight, assisting us. I use Garurumon Black to lower Fugamon's defense stats and continue to attack Hyugamon. I then reduce Ogremon's defense stats and Strikemon finishes Hyugamon off. During the fight, Agiomon learned a new stun move which came in handy. Since fire was really effective against Ogremon, he is the next one to fall. I swapped Garurumon Black with Garurumon to have a vaccine ice attacker who does decent damage against Fugamon. Strikemon's attacks were also effective. I swapped Greymon with Garurumon Black because his ice attacks would perform better than Greymon's attacks. With a few more rounds, Fugamon is defeated. With Minervamon, we meet Central Town leader Marukimon. In order for us to get home, we need to go to the radio tower so that Minervamon can get in contact with Junomon. I then digivolve Dorumon into Dorugamon. Who came up with these names? For my Central Town encounter, I converted Toy Agumon. We get to the radio tower and start climbing it. In the steel maze section, I converted Coatmon, and in the steel periphery, I converted Kudamon. I then digivolved Coatmon into Cordramon Blue and Kudamon into Airdramon. We get to the top and are attacked by Parrotmon. As always, I start the fight off with my cross arts boosting all of their stats. I tried to stun Parrotmon, but that failed. I used Garurumon Black to lower Parrotmon's defense stats. Strikemon's fire attacks proved to be effective. Dorugamon's earth attack was even more effective, so I used Garurumon's earth attack as well. As the fight goes on, Parrotmon gets struck by lightning and heals. Lovely. The fight continues, just now slower since it heals and my Digimon get hurt if they get hit by the lightning. Eventually he starts getting ready for a strong attack. Everything that was effective no longer is, except for Dorugamon's attacks. I then had everyone guard since I couldn't do enough damage to stop the attack. I swapped Garurumon out with Angemon. I use him to heal Strike Dramon. The fight goes on as normal. Eventually Marukimon shows up to assist us. Marukimon is a huge damage boost and we're able to stop Parrotmon's strong attack. After a bit, Parrotmon is finally defeated. The next day we meet with Marukimon and he explains the Locomon is usually how they get to Junomon's temple, but the factorial area that powers it is having troubles. So we get assigned to go deal with it. Blipmon gives us a ride and gets shot down. Sheesh. Luckily we still arrive, but it was pretty rocky. We learned that Volcanismon is in charge but is stuck in his forge. Gardramon explains that if we want to reach Volcanismon, we need the help of Kokuwomon. We find Kokuwomon lying on the ground. He says he's not functioning correctly and asks us to go get the part from the merchants. We try to buy the item, but Vaidmon doesn't have it anymore and gives us Shock Plasma 1. Bruh, what an unreliable merchant. If y'all want some reliable items, be sure to go check out the links I have down in the description, as I would never list an item I don't use myself. Definitely don't trust Vaidmons. I teach Greymon Blue Shock Plasma 1 and he's able to power Kokuwomon up. He informs us that we need to rescue his partner in order for us to get to Volcanismon. We rescue the other Kokuwomon and the other Digimon. I convert Koromon and went a whole route of digivolving it into an Impmon. As the two Kokuwomons get ready to open the door, they discover that the switch is broken. All of a sudden, the Titan Ultimate Brachiomon attacks us. Brachiomon is a data type and is resistant to physical attacks. Lovely. I try lowering its physical defense, but that doesn't make much of a difference. I swapped Darugumon with Greymon Blue. Greymon Blue and Garurumon Black proved to be the best on my team for this fight. Brachiomon then switches from physical to magical resistance. Oh, you fool. This gives my Digimon a huge advantage. The fight is pretty long and tedious, but eventually Greymon Blue finishes Ultimate Brachiomon off. We slid down its neck to meet Volcanismon. However, Volcanismon thinks that we're Titans and attacks us. Volcanismon is a data type as well, but he fights with mechanical hands that are a mix of vaccine, data, and virus types. The first set is pretty easy since there's only two, and they're a virus and vaccine. After defeating the hands, I'm able to attack him and do about a quarter of his health. The second set consists of data and vaccine, and they defeat Darugumon and Agiomon. Yeah, eventually he defeats all of my Digimon. Well, attempt number 4 or something, I don't know at this point. I digivolved Dracomon to a Cordramon Green. After some more grinding, I challenge Volcanismon again. I start the fight with Greymon, Darugumon, and Garurumon Black. I get some good damage on the first pair of robot hands. He does some big damage to Garurumon Black and Darugumon. I used Agemon to heal Garurumon Black, then swapped him with Angemon to heal Darugumon. I had Darugumon focused on the vaccine hand and Greymon focused on the virus hand. The hands go down and he brings out 4 new ones. 2 vaccines and 2 viruses. Also, I forgot to mention that I swapped my cross art skill, which now attacks all of the opponents and reduces their stats. This made it easier to take the hands out. Essentially, I continued to have Greymon focus on the virus hands and Darugumon on the vaccine hands. Agiomon and Angemon were primarily healers but also were used to attack when healing wasn't crucial. Once they were defeated, they were pulled back and I was able to directly attack him. Since he's a data Digimon, I swapped my vaccines out with my viruses. Heavy Strike 2 from Cordramon turned out to be very effective. I then swapped Darugumon with Garurumon Black to continue the virus onslaught. I managed to knock him to below half before he summoned the next set of hands. The first set returns. I switched Greymon Blue with Greymon. I had Agiomon attack the virus hand since I was going to switch my other Digimons out. Darugumon was still confused and attacked Greymon. Bruh. I swapped Cordramon out with Angemon, who also attacked Greymon from confusion. On Greymon's turn, I used a HP spray to heal everyone up, and Greymon missed his attack. His vaccine hand then uses a taunt, forcing everyone to attack it. This allows the virus hand to live. And kill Dorugamon. Greymon finishes the vaccine hand off, and after some rounds, the virus hand goes down as well. Then I had to quickly finish him off. I swapped Angemon with Cordramon. I used my cross art skill, which seemed to only lower his meter. However, Cordramon did massive damage to him. Agiomon wasn't able to do much, so Cordramon finished Volcanusmon off. We finally talk with him and tell him we need the power up so we can get to Junimon, and he fixes the power. We get to Junimon's temple and meet Junimon, and gosh dang! Agiomon gets confirmed to be the Great Guardian. She then explains about the Great Guardian Chronomon and then informs us that the Abyss area needs our aid as well. I then de-digivolve Airdramon back into Kudamon. We talk to the leader of the village, and he mentions that Shellmon was rumored to be helping a Titan. On the way, I convert a Colamon. We head to her place, and she says that she's hurt, and we offer to get her the medicine she needs. After clearing some Shakamons, we get the Coveweed. We bring her the materials for the medicine, and Shellmon asks us to ask Kamaimon for some coral fragments. She asks us why we're being nice, and being satisfied with our answers lets us in. We see that she is helping a Titan. Turns out the Diramon she's helping doesn't want to fight anymore. Right. Octomon comes by and informs us that the village is under attack. We get to the village and are too late. We return to Shellmon's place, and Divermon is doing better. Divermon decides to go talk to his boss, and we decide to go along with him. Before we leave, Shellmon gives us a shell to summon her friend. We get to the spot and summon Waymon, and he takes us to the Abyssal area. For the Abyss Depths encounter, I converted a Poimon and digivolved it into Tokomon. We confront Divermon's boss, Sharkmon. Divermon tries to persuade him to reconsider attacking the village, but he gets mad, and now we have to fight. Sharkmon is a virus type, and of course, electric elements are extremely effective. I mean, it is a fish. He also has two different Divermons fight along with him. I switch Garurumon out with Cordramon since the Divermons are a data type and they happen to be weak to fire as well. I had Strikemon attack the Divermon on the right and had Greymon attack Sharkmon. I then used my cross art skill, dealing damage and lowering their stats. Agiomon was the best attacker for Sharkmon. I had Cordramon attack all three with a fire attack. I then had Strikemon use a null attack on Sharkmon, which was also effective. After Greymon's attack, Sharkmon starts charging up an attack. While trying to stop Sharkmon, the Divermon on the left dies. Not much longer, the Divermon on the right dies, and Strikemon finishes Sharkmon off. Sharkmon then retreats. We head back to Shellmon's place, but she's no longer there, and her note informs us that she left with the villagers. Divermon decides to stay at the village to help rebuild it. We head back to Junimon. We inform her about the Titans wanting control of the current, and she sends us to go to Gear Forest to protect it. We soon arrive at Gear Forest, and as we make our way to the village, we find a Palmon in trouble and clear the Digimon attacking it. Palmon thanks us and agrees to help us get to the village. For my Gear Forest Floating Island Plains conversion, I converted Tentomon. I then digivolved it into Kabuterimon. As we get closer to the village, we run into Palmon's bullies. They think we're Titans and set traps throughout the forest to make it harder for anyone to get into the village. Well, I mean, I can't blame them. We catch up to them and the Titans are there too. So they ask for us to help them. Huh, what a shocker. I easily defeat them and the bullies apologize and thank us for helping them. We get to the village and find their leader, Bacchusmon, who's drunk. Bruh. We inform both him and Sirenmon about the World Tree is going to be attacked by the Titans. We go with Sirenmon to check on the World Tree. However, to get to it, we have to go through Cherrymon. Cherrymon is a virus Digimon who is weak to fire, which is extremely convenient since I have 3 fire vaccine Digimon. So this boss fight was pretty easy. Once we get to the tree, we see a bunch of the Titans attacking it. Naturally, we attack the intruders. Aquamon is the boss in this fight. I focus on knocking out the Kuwagamons since I know that they are weak to fire, just for new enemies to show up. Bruh, gosh dang it. I get the Flymons to where they could be one-shotted, Greymon finishes them off, and Aquamon still barely takes any damage. Jeez, what is this thing made of? Sirenmon lowers its defense stats and I hit it with my cross arts, allowing Aegiomon to get off some good damage and more enemies show up. After several turns, I finally defeat it with Aegiomon. The enemy flee, but they achieved their goal of altering the flow of the current. Back at the village, Bacchusmon asks us to inform Junomon about what happened. As we get closer to the Guardian Palace, a bunch of Titans start swarming Locomon. I defeat them and we get inside to find Ogremon and his sidekicks. Naturally, we fight them and beat them. Titamon then shows up. Seriously? Gosh, why? He effortlessly knocks Junomon down. She gives us the treasure to flee with. She tries to get Aegiomon to stay behind, but he chooses to stay loyal to Inori and Junomon gets all crazy about it. Aegiomon then digivolves and we return to the human world. But the Titans follow us. Yikes. I then convert a Divermon as my new encounter, and after some grinding I digivolve Greymon Blue into Metal Greymon Blue. We find the public safety agents. They try to tell us to get somewhere safe and to take the evacuation measures.
Do you have any idea who I am?
We eventually find Dr. Simmons. We tell her that we need to get to the Tokyo government building. Inori, who the frick put you in charge? Dr. Simmons informs us that the machine they're working on might be able to help us reach the building. She asks us to go activate the 3 generators that are needed for the machine. I then digivolve Cordramon Green into Groundramon, Garurumon into Weregurumon, Strikemon into Savior Huckmon, Angemon into Sirenmon, Garurumon Black into Weregurumon Black, Greymon into Megadramon, and Cordramon Blue into Wingdramon. We then find a group of the public safety people struggling with the generators. We give them the battery. They give us the coordinates that are underground. We get to the underground and get to a point where Aegiomon and Black Gatomon have to go through a tunnel to the other side. They discover the agents are surrounded by enemy Digimon. After purging those Digimon, the group is saved. Aegiomon turns the water off, allowing access to the generators and allowing Inori and me to get through. We get to the 3rd generator and it needs some repairing, so Asuna asks us to go get a special tool for it. We find the agent who has it and he gives it to me. We then bring it to her after beating up some Cordramon Greens. Asuna is then able to fix the generator and the protective electromagnetic nets come online. We head to the park where Dr. Simmons gives me a miniature version of the electromagnetic nets. We head to the government building and find the orb Junomon entrusted to us. However, Titamon gets to it before us and absorbs it. Yeah, not only that, I was severely underleveled for this fight and got my butt whooped again. So, attempt 6, I digivolved Tokomon into Coronamon, then into Firemon, and into Flaremon. I figured that an extra vaccine Digimon would help. I grinded everyone to be around level 30, and it significantly helped with bringing Skull Baluchimon down without losing any Digimon. Phase 2 was still insane. Flaremon and Agio Chessmon got hit with an anti-healing status. Ugh. On the plus side, my Digimons are able to hit Titamon harder. He uses his time attack and nearly wipes everyone out. Sheesh. Flaremon does some good damage against him. I hit him with my cross art, dealing some damage and lowering his stats. I swap Metal Greymon with Mega Dramon, who does okay damage. I also switched Wing Dramon out with Ground Dramon, who did some decent damage. Agio Chessmon also does some decent damage to him. Titamon defeats Flaremon and Agio Chessmon. The operator then reminds me about the device Dr. Simmons gave us, where Garurumon was able to do decent damage to him. I set the device up and continue to attack him. He tries to use his time attack and the device stops him. After damaging him, he sets up a magic reflect. Well, joke's on you, most of my attacks are physical. I revive Agio Chessmon since I'm stuck with him anyways. I pretty much wail on him until he's defeated. The treasure starts going crazy, Agio Chessmon tries to control the power, and we end up in the theaters. We find a hidden room with 3 kids. They appear as kids for some odd reason, but in reality they are the hosts ruling over the 3 different digital worlds or servers. They talk amongst themselves, then kick us out. Geez, okay. We then receive the Crimson Dragon data fragment for Agiomon. We end up 8 years later, so the present now? We get to Inoi's home and Hiroko is there, but older. We catch up for a bit, and when we head out, one of the public safety officers is now a DSAT agent? Whatever the frick that means or is. He tries to take Agiomon away, and we end up locked up. Brother, what the frick? Why? Asuna comes to rescue us, and gosh dang, she's looking fine. Turns out the government is experimenting on the Digimon. At this point, I'm not surprised. Dr. Simmons calls and informs us that DSAT is trying to eliminate the Digimon. Why y'all so anti-Digimon? She also informs us about Rebellion Village. We get to Rebellion Village where we find Dr. Simmons, and the first part of the conversation is about how I look like the main character from a show called Agent Alpha. Okay. She shares her theory about there being 2 different futures. We then go to talk with Marukimon, who is injured. He explains that they lost to the Titans and were forced to flee into the human world. He then states that they're besieged by both the Titans and the humans. We decide to try and negotiate with the Titans to return the major villages to the other Digimon. As we're about to head into the digital world, where Garurumon asks us to search for a healer that could possibly heal Marukimon. We head to the tavern in Central Town, and the Titans turned it into a bar, and every woman is acting as a stripper. NANI? We meet Lanamon. She introduces us to Venusmon, who was formerly Shellmon. Lanamon gives Venusmon a bottle that Venusmon requested to give as a peace offering to the Titans. Yeah, like this isn't sus at all. As we make our way to the Abyssal Throne Room, a Skull Seedramon interferes. He's so big that we have to attack one section of it at a time. The first part has a counter to physical attacks, so I have to use magic attacks. After some turns, the tail shows up, and now I have to use physical attacks. I switch Megadramon with Wing Dramon, and after some turns of chipping away its health, it moves again. Skull Seedramon doesn't hit very hard. It finally comes up, and now my Digimon's attacks do a whole lot more to it. Eventually, Megadramon finishes it off. We meet Neptunemon, who turned out to have been the Divermon we helped. He asks us to deliver the scarf he was given back to Shellmon, aka Venusmon. We return to Venusmon. We inform her that we gave Neptunemon the peace offering and gave her the scarf. Neptunemon then dies from the wine. Well, this is a problem. Venusmon is then in agony of her mistake, and water is reeked in the poison, and we get saved by a shadow? What? Okay. We wake up in the theaters. Myri shows up and explains to us that we were supposed to meet an untimely demise. She also explains that the shadow is an omen of coming despair. She then tells us to go to the VIP room. Essentially, they're starting to get involved and we supposedly have some power? Okay. I don't know. For all I know, I'm just an agent. We go into the theater room and get a summary of Neptunemon and Venusmon. Myri informs us about the Akashic vision, which allows us to interfere with a predetermined fate. We travel through time and are back to the Abyssal Surface village, but something is off. According to the local Digimon, the sea is polluted and that they have a ceasefire with the Titans. We find Venusmon and tell her that the wine will ruin everything. We then get in Master Blimpmon to inform Lanamon about the poison as well. Venusmon discovers lethal poison on board and realizes she was deceived. You know, the majority of these Titans are evil. Lanamon goes on a typical villain monologue, but no one cares. We beat her in a fight. She then runs away. We get to Neptunemon just in time to stop him from drinking the wine. Neptunemon and Venusmon have their little reunion, and Lanamon shows up to ruin the moment. She goes on a tantrum. Bruh, shut your Minnie Mouse voice up. And we fight. Calamamon is a weird neutral type, so I had to rely on element attacks like fire. Agiochessmon had a huge advantage since he also has a data attack that's effective against her. Having Venusmon be a healer was also really helpful. The fight overall isn't very difficult. I had to heal my Digimon a lot because of the poison, but that was the only annoying thing, and she eventually was defeated. We return to the in-between theater. Myri explains about the sacred current, which gives us access to the power of the current. However, we have to gather like-minded allies to help us wield it. Agiomon then gets a new form, and now our objective is to gather allies. We return to the Abyss surface and chat with Venusmon, and remember that we need her help to heal Marukimon. We bring her to Marukimon, and it turns out that Marukimon was poisoned by the same poison Lanamon was planning on using. We then need to head to the Gear Forest to get some fruit for the antidote. We get to the Gear Forest and everything looks dead. What the heck happened here? I then digivolve Kudamon into Sorcerermon. We get to the village and it's like a ghost town. We start heading to the tree and find Cherrymon asleep. He wakes up and fights us, but the fight is short-lived because his back gets hurt. Freaking grandpa here. He then remembers us and informs us that Bacchusmon is just ahead. We get to Bacchusmon and he's the only one left. Essentially, the Titans put him to sleep and swept the village. Out of despair of failing to protect the village, he poisoned himself. Dang. This got depressing really quick. A shadow appears. Well, everybody hop on the time travel train. It's time to save an ally. On the way back to the village, we find some Digimon in trouble and save them. As we fight the Titans, Lotusmon joins to assist us. After the fight, Lotusmon informs us that she was the Floramon. We then inform her that the village is in danger and we head our way to the village. We get to the village and shortly everyone falls asleep. We wake up in a weird dream place. The puzzle was pretty freaking annoying. When you go through the doors, they teleport you to a new spot and it changes based on how you enter it. I eventually realized that Bacchusmon is literally sitting on an invisible path. With Bacchusmon, we can finally progress and we meet Witchmon, who's a subject of Titamon and is upset that we caused him to disappear. Bruh, get your side hoe self out of here. She starts off by putting Megadramon and Groundramon to sleep. By the time Groundramon and Megadramon woke up, she had set up a barrier reflecting physical attacks. Bruh. I swapped a Groundramon with Metal Greymon. Yeah, not being able to use physical attacks sucked big time. Her barrier eventually goes away, several rounds go, and we're barely doing any damage. She goes for her super attack, which we fail to stop her, but I'm able to have all of my Digimon guard. This fight continues with me doing barely any damage to her, healing my Digimon, and her putting them to sleep. She goes for her super attack again, but this time we stop her. I continue to attack. She starts charging for her third super attack, and I finish her off with the cross arts and Metal Greymon. She disappears and everyone starts to wake up. We join Bacchusmon to head over to the Sanctuary Tree. We find Sirenmon and the Titan who's monologuing. Bruh, why do y'all monologue? No one gives a crap about your freaking strategy. We join Sirenmon in the fight. Tyrant Kabuterimon is also pretty bulky, but not as bad as Witchmon was. Lowering its stats with the cross arts helped as well. Sirenmon managed to confuse him, which was very helpful, or so I thought. So just like in Pokemon, it has a chance to not attack my Digimon, but that didn't happen. Tyrant is weak to water and ice, so hence why both Garurumons are out, and Metal Greymon is just out because he's my strongest. After several rounds, Bacchusmon powers up. Tyrant also does by increasing his elemental resistance. Despite that, I'm able to keep damaging him and soon defeat him. Sirenmon then turns into a plant? Bacchusmon reassures us that she'll be fine and is healing. We return to the theater to reveal Bacchusmon as the third ally, and Aegiomon gets another form. We return to Bacchusmon and party. The next day I ask Bacchusmon about the fruit we need to help cure Marukimon, but Bacchusmon informs me that it might appear when the forest fully revives. Well, so much for that plan. We return to Marukimon, who tries to reassure us that he's fine for now. Yeah, sure you are. He then asks us to go to the Factorio area. We get there and it got turned into a fighting arena. Okay. We got informed that Big Bearmon became Callusmon and is the ruler of this area. Little Bearmon supposedly fled to the human world, so we decided to go look for him. We get to Rebellion Village. A Chumon informs us that we might find Little Bearmon at the Shinjuku Underground Arena. We find it and sign up. After climbing up the ranks, we meet Grappleomon, who makes it pretty clear that he was Little Bearmon. The fight was pretty easy thanks to Savior Hugmon and Aegiochessmon Blue. Aegiochessmon Blue was able to increase Grappleomon's weakness to metal attacks, allowing Hugmon to hit him hard. I used Metal Greymon for his metal attacks. Grappleomon explains that he's been training in the Colosseum to become strong enough to help take their village back. We inform him that his brother is rumored to be the ruler of the Titan Arena. He agrees to come with us to the arena. Hiruko calls Inori. She supposedly has something urgent to tell us. Grappleomon mentions that he needs to make some preparations as well. She tells us that she was able to make her anime, which this whole scene is just a promo for the Digimon anime. We get to the Paradise Coliseum and everyone is fleeing in a panic. What just happened? The two Digimon we had spoken with earlier explained that Callusmon went berserk and started attacking the spectators. Yeah, Grappleomon did not have a good ending. And Aegiomon manages to summon a shadow. We time travel back to the underground where Grappleomon is at, and we head to the Paradise Coliseum. After grinding through the matches, we get to Callusmon. Grappleomon tries to knock some sense into Callusmon, but he goes into a fit of rage and now we have to fight. I start off with Metal Greymon, where Garurumon Black and Groundramon. Callusmon has a weakness to fire, so I had Metal Greymon use a fire attack. I swapped where Garurumon Black out with the regular version and use a fire attack, but it misses. I swapped Groundramon with Wingdramon, who proved to be a great counter for Callusmon. After taking about a quarter of his health down, he gets angry and powers up. He soon starts charging up for a super attack. His metal arm is weak to electric attacks, so I change Aegiochessmon's form to his red form. His lightning pile attack does a huge impact to the gauge, allowing me to eventually break his form. We then learn that Callusmon joined the Titans to protect his brother. Grappleomon starts blaming himself for being weak. We give him some encouragement, and he digivolves into Marsmon. I start bombarding Callusmon with fire attacks and electric attacks from Aegiochessmon. Soon Marsmon finishes the fight. Callusmon's mind and heart were restored, and pleaded to Marsmon to help protect others from his fate. Marsmon becomes a new ally and we head back to Marukimon. Marukimon explains that the villagers are getting worked up because they received intel that the Titans plan to attack them. He already has units engaged in Central Town. He asks us to guard their rear from the humans. We talk to Dr. Simmons, who tells us that the public safety is planning to attack the village. She asks us to try and stop Inori's dad. We find her dad and a very familiar robot. Oh boy. Inori questions her father's actions. He then tries to apprehend us. He then pushes the execution orders. Inori stays behind and Agiomon and I flee. While fleeing, Agiomon and I get separated. The operator, she tries to order me to eliminate Agiomon and Inori. Have you lost your everlasting mind? She leaves me to figure out the best resolve. Chumon delivers news to me that Marukimon died. That's not shocking knowing his condition. As the operator continues to explain about time travel stuff, some friendly Digimon come and give me a ride to the gate. The robot tries to grab Inori and Agiomon pushes her out of the way. So remember how I mentioned about the golden hand? Yeah, it makes a return, punching the robot and causing a huge explosion. Inori gets sucked into a weird space-time disturbance and Agiomon goes crazy and pretty much has an emo phase. He goes after Inori and I wake up in the theater. Weird. So I watched the film showing where we went wrong and pretty much we weren't supposed to let Marukimon fight in his condition, so I'm able to time travel. Marukimon notices that I'm alone and still tries to have me deal with human affairs. I call him out and tell him that their plans will fail. I then explain to him about time traveling. That's allowed me to delay Marukimon and allow Venusmon to arrive in time to cure Marukimon of his poison. With Marukimon cured, I join them in their mission to take Central Town back. After defeating many Titans, I reach Marukimon to aid him with his fight. An unknown Digimon is there speaking of plan of some kind. Clearly he's the one behind all of this. He summons a Venom Myotismon to battle us. Venom hits pretty hard and confuses Weregurumon Black. I healed him up. I had Metal Greymon use an electric attack, but it doesn't do much damage. I switch Weregurumon Black out for Weregurumon, who does some good damage against Venom. I also switch Groundjamon with Wingdramon, who does okay damage. Marukimon got confused and attacked Metal Greymon, where Garurumon does decent damage with getting extra attacks in. I had Metal Greymon lower Venom's attack. I continued to deal damage and heal as needed. Eventually Metal Greymon finishes Venom off. The mystery Digimon comments that I've gotten stronger. Thanks? He then disappears. With that, Central Town is restored and Marukimon becomes one of our allies. I head back to Central Town and discuss with Marukimon. He asks me to go speak with Plutomon to see what the Titans desire so a peace treaty could be made. I get to the Dark Field. I find a Geckomon who helps me get to Plutomon's castle. On the way, I convert a Kurishirimon and have it become a Deltamon, who I then digivolve into Orochimon. I then digivolve Sorcerermon into Piximon. I also digivolve Kabuterimon into Chimeramon. I get to Plutomon's throne and he's a zombie? What?
Oh, no, 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 no.
He pretty much has a grudge against Chronomon. This time I did some prep for this fight. I start with my crosshair skill doing damage and lowering his stats. This allows Weregurumon's fire attack to do some good damage against Plutomon. Wingdramon does some massive damage to him. Plutomon causes Megadramon to get confused and skips his turn, making him attack Weregurumon. Bruh. Weregurumon and Wingdramon pretty much carried this fight. Plutomon's charging attack was a little annoying since you have to remove 4 of his flames, each with their own gauge. I managed to break 2 of them, but he heals and I had all of my Digimon guard the attack and 2 of them got confused from the attack. Sheesh. Thankfully, it goes away pretty quickly. Wingdramon gets down pretty low, so I swapped him with Metal Greymon. I continued to chip away his health. I get him below half health, and he activates his Reaper Mist, which makes it where if I heal, it does damage to my Digimon. Lovely. He goes for his super attack, but this time I'm able to break it, making it easier to deal damage, and after a few more turns, I beat him. Geckomon gets us out of there to avoid Plutomon's crazy attack, and then we return. He then dies dies and a shadow appears. I time travel and return to Plutomon's throne and find the mystery Digimon removing his control of Plutomon and was about to turn him into the zombie form until I stepped in and he fled. We update Plutomon about what happened and he informs me about the truth of the world. After telling me, he asks me to go inform Marukimon, so I do just that, and Marukimon sends Venusmon to go heal him. I appear at the in-between theater again, and Myri hints about Agiomon being on the verge of becoming Chronomon. I then get tasked by Marukimon to consult with Dr. Simmons about potential danger in the human world. I get to Dr. Simmons and give her an update. She then updates me on what the public safety plans are. We decide to investigate. We get in the facility thanks to Dr. Simmons making a fake ID, and we look for the security room. We discover that there's a lack of personnel around. Not suspicious at all. Dr. Simmons points out that the Digimon being experimented on are at the end of the lab. We then head over to the server rooms so Dr. Simmons can update her fake ID. In order to finish registering the ID, I have to go look for a supervisor's ID number. After much searching, I find the ID number and set off a bunch of alarms, because of course. As Dr. Simmons starts registering the ID card, the alarms go off and enemy Digimon show up. Asuna and I get tasked to deal with the enemy Digimon to give her time. Thankfully, these Digimon were really easy to defeat. With the updated fake ID, we get to the restricted section of the lab. I find Volcanismon on the floor. Well, anyone have a stick? Unfortunately, the public safety have already installed his core into the robot. While we're all sad about what happened to Volcanismon, a shadow appears. Mirai explains that this death will be tricky to change since it was meant to happen. I return to the human world, but back to before the shadow appears. Odd. We feel the movements of the robot and I get to the government building area and find a shadow that turns into Agiomon. So every shadow figure was Agiomon trying to save Inori, but pretty much failed and pretty much gets depressed about it.
What a baby.
And then he tries to say we're his something, but is cut off, and I appear back in the in-between theater. What is happening? Essentially, Chronomon's plan was to corrupt Agiomon so that he would turn into Chronomon through despair. Mirai emphasizes that I can reach out to Agiomon. I then appear in front of the robot. Let's go. I get back to Volcanismon's chamber and he thinks I'm Agiomon. Buddy, I'm much taller and more human. Dr. Kuga enters, who was behind putting Volcanismon's core into the robot. I tell him that I'm with Dr. Simmons, and he runs off like a little coward. Yeah, you better run. I free Volcanismon and convert a Datamon. As we try to flee, Dr. Kuga returns in a power loader and throws a tantrum. Bruh, chill out. I changed my cross art skill back to buffing my Digimon. Overall, this was a pretty easy boss fight. He didn't have a specific weakness, but my Digimon were a high enough level to do a lot of damage to him. Once he gets low on health, he does a heavy spread attack. Ouch. Luckily, none of my Digimon died from it, and where Garurumon finishes him off. He then flees and we reunite with Dr. Simmons and Asuna. I'm transported to the in-between where Volcanismon is revealed to be a new ally. Mirai mentions that Rebellion Village is where I should attend next. I find Dr. Simmons and she informs me that a Digimon named Dianamon was providing Kuga Digimon to experiment on. Dianamon was the Digimon Lunamon 8 years ago. Okay, something is definitely not right here. Chumon informs me that she's in the cosmic area. I make my way to the cosmic area. There is a Sorcerermon and Wizardmon guarding the gate to the hot and cold areas. Turns out both Apollomon and Dianamon made these chambers their bases, but had a falling out of some kind. The Sorcerermon reveals that Minervamon is rumored to be imprisoned. Well, that explains how there was a falling out with Apollomon and Dianamon. I then bring up about the rumor of Dianamon selling Digimon to humans. They get mad about the rumor, but Pumpkinmon comes and helps me out of the situation. Pumpkinmon claims that he's trying to ease the tense of the situation. I tell him that I want to talk to Dianamon, and he seems like he's wanting to help. Yeah, this is pretty sus, especially what happened with Lanamon. He recommends that we go to Apollomon first, so we enter the fire chamber. In the fire chamber, I grab a heat seed, and as we get closer, we feel... In the fire chamber, I grab a heat seed, and as we get closer, we find the route blocked. Bruh. Pumpkinmon mentions that we need the chill seed to progress further. Before leaving, I convert a Rise Greymon. We get to the ice chamber, and I grab the chill seed. I then get to Apollomon in the fire chamber. He assumes that I'm wanting him to make up with Dianamon. Oh good, this'll be easy. What do you mean Dianamon made things worse and we need to leave? He gets mad that I refuse to leave, and a battle erupts. I lead with both of my Wergurumon since they have ice elements and Apollomon has a weakness to ice. Wergurumon does decent damage to Apollomon. I swap Metal Greymon out with Savior Huckmon, who does decent damage to Apollomon. He then hits all of my Digimon, bringing Wergurumon Black to the red. Sheesh. I switch him out with Sirenmon, who I use to lower his defense. Apollomon hits Savior Huckmon hard. I buff my Digimon with my Cross Art skill, where Gurumon and Savior Huckmon continue to deal damage while Sirenmon performs as support. He buffs himself and starts his super attack. In order to stop it, I have to break his sun. Sirenmon's wind attacks surprisingly did a lot of damage. Pumpkinmon breaks the sun and Wergurumon does decent damage. After doing some more damage, he tries to do his super attack again, and he fails again thanks to Sirenmon. The rounds continue and eventually I defeat him. He then realizes who I am. He asks if I've heard about the rumors about Dianamon, and I confirm that I have. But this leads to him thinking that he's got to take Dianamon out. That's a bit extreme. Pumpkinmon and I soon followed. We find Apollomon confronting Dianamon. Yeah, none of it is good. And a battle erupts. She starts the fight by trying to put my Digimon to sleep, but with some preparations I gave them items that make them immune to sleep. She has a weakness to fire, so I focused on using fire attacks. She attacks Megadramon and hit him pretty hard. Thankfully, she's a data type, so my virus fire Digimon had some resistance and an advantage. After several turns of doing damage to her, she starts charging up for her super attack. Thankfully, it was pretty easy to stop. I deliver an onslaught of damage to her. She tries again and we defeat her. Apollomon apologizes to her and she reveals that Junimon ordered her to send Digimon to the humans, thinking they were supposed to act as envoys to help the humans understand them better. They make up and we decide to go confront Junimon. We arrived at the temple and what the heck happened here? Everything's so dark and disturbing. What the frick? We found Junimon and she looks horrifying. What the frick? As Apollomon and Dianamon start questioning, we all look at Pumpkinmon. You bastard. Yeah. So apparently when we left Junimon, she got all crazy. We wake up in a cell. Well, isn't this great? Pumpkinmon keeps taunting and soon gets what he deserves, caused by the Titans. Huh? Child? He isn't here, bruh. They were ordered by Plutomon to rescue the Titans, and they figured they'd help us as well. We decide to go look for Minervamon, and the security system goes off. Of course it does. We find Minervamon. She tells us we need to go find the Gamma device and turn it off to help free her. Right as we're about to do that, Clavis Angemon shows up, and this guy is stupidly strong. I had to stall until Dianamon puts him to sleep, allowing us to escape him. I find the Gamma device, but now I need to go find 2 additional devices to unlock it. While running around the temple avoiding Clavis, I find the Beta device and turn it off. Clavis shows up and the Ogremons stall him, allowing me to go look for the Alpha device. After much searching, I find the device and turn it off, freeing the imprisoned Digimon. When I return to the cells, Clavis is there and has us surrounded. I try to flee by going downstairs, but Clavis appears and fights us. Thankfully, he doesn't have his stupid buff anymore and is really easy to beat. After we beat him, Titamon freezes time, allowing me to trap Clavis in the cell. Serves you right. We get to Minervamon and her cell hasn't opened. Are you kidding me? Apollomon and Dianamon then attack the door together and break it, freeing Minervamon. We then reach Junimon and everyone keeps referring to me as the Great Guardian. Y'all, I am a gosh dang freaking human. Like, I'm not Agumon. What do y'all want from me? Junimon in this state is a virus type, although she's always been a virus type. Either way, I lead with Rare Garurumon Black, Rare Garurumon, and Wingdramon. I buff them up with my cross art skill. Rare Garurumon gets some solid hits thanks to some extra attacks. Wingdramon also does decent damage, which clearly she didn't like and attacked him twice. Ma'am, I need you to calm down. I heal Wingdramon up. Rare Garurumon Black and Maneuvermon do decent damage. After doing about a quarter of health, the temple decreases my Digimon stats and prevent me from healing. Seriously? She starts powering up, but it's in vain because I'm able to stop it, allowing us to get in good damage against her. I get her down to about half health and the temple lowers my Digimon stats again. I swap Wingdramon out with Metal Greymon and buff them with my cross art skill. After some turns of doing damage to her, she tries to do another super attack. I break her form and get a few more damage in. Metal Greymon almost dies from the debuffs. Sheesh. I swap him out with Groundramon. This end phase was pretty tough because of the debuffs. Where Garurumon Black gets low on health, so I switch him with Megadramon. She then attacks everyone and attacks Megadramon again, causing him to fall. Yeah, that one kind of hurt. After Groundramon and Where Garurumon do some decent damage, my cross art skill comes in clutch, giving my Digimon the needed buff to finish Junimon off. The mystery Digimon shows up again and disappears. Junimon returns to normal. She reveals that Chronomon set this whole issue up to self-destruct to truly be freed. Agiomon's creation was to be a replacement gear. With that, I've now gained 4 allies, leaving 2 left. Mirai informs me that Inori could possibly be saved at the end of the world. Ah, I see where this is going. But first we got to go smack some sense into Agumon. I leave the theater and enter Rebellion Village. Junimon updates the other disciples. Junimon still refers to me as Agumon. Dr. Simmons and Asuna mention that the robot has been activated, and Dr. Simmons mentions Dr. Yuki. I mentioned that he was the person who adopted me, which completely confuses Dr. Simmons, and she reveals that Dr. Yuki is from an anime. Okay. Huh? Junimon creates a gate that leads to where Chronomon is. I enter the gate and I end up what looks like where the journey began? Huh? The robot attacks me, but a Birdramon rescues me and I end up in a void. The operator then appears. She starts explaining who I really am. First, my creator is the higher being that Chronomon had initially challenged, specifically homeostasis created me. Secondly, the purpose of my existence is to bring order. Agumon was used as a base for my creation. Due to Agumon creating many dark shadows, the creator took advantage of the dark shadows, shaping one of them into my form. The shadow came from a timeline where Agumon took Inori's brother's place, thus my appearance and memories were created from the memories of Agumon. I soon find Agumon and he's still gloomy. Despite him trying to keep the distance, I keep getting closer to him as he continues to mope. He worries that if he resumes the flow of time that I'll disappear too, but I reassure him that there's a reason that I have a different form. We then fuse and become Jupitermon, which is pretty dope. Sirenmon returns in her evolved form, so we have a little rally, and then we travel to Chronomon, coming in like a storm. We then strike Chronomon. Palomon and Dynamon fuse into Grace Novamon to create a separate space for us to fight Chronomon in. We yeet Chronomon into the void. While this is pretty cool to play as Jupitermon, this is a bit boring of a fight because I can only click the attack button, making this pretty much a predetermined outcome. The fight continues into a cutscene and Chronomon causes us to split. We hear Inori's voice and pull her out of the time space. We enter some kind of space-time distortion. We press forward and spot a glowing light. It resonates with Agumon and now he can turn into his holy version. Chronomon's will appears and pretty much tells us to defeat him and take his place. We decide to press forward, which requires some help from a Biomon. Well, here we go again. He tries to fly us over, and just like before, we crash land. I move forward going through the doors and find Plutomon. He then tells us to come closer. He informs us that the Titans that are under his command have the same objective to defeat Chronomon. Plutomon promises to help forge a path forward for us, but needs us to buy him some time. Geckomon helps transport us to fight the enemies. With the assistance of the Ogremon brothers and Geckomon, we challenge the artificial Digimon. Although one of them is Barbamon, one of the demon lords, so still a potentially tough fight. I start by attacking the side Digimon, thinking that knocking them out will make the fight easier. Barbamon wrecks Agio Chusmon and almost knocks Weregarurumon Black out. Jeez. I revived Agio Chusmon and switched Weregarurumon with Metal Greymon. I had Metal Greymon attack a side Digimon and had Agio Chusmon do a spread attack. I then boost everyone's stats. I had Weregarurumon attack the Skull Greymon and Wingdramon do a spread attack which defeats the side Digimon, allowing everyone to focus on Barbamon and do decent damage to him. More Digimon appear, of course. The fight continues with me having Metal Greymon and Weregarurumon focus on the side Digimon. Wingdramon and Agio Chusmon continue to do spread attacks and I heal them as needed. I eventually just have all of my Digimon attack Barbamon. Unfortunately, Barbamon reverses his compatibilities, allowing him to defeat Wingdramon. After some more turns, we defeat Barbamon. Plutomon then destroys a barrier blocking our path. Geckomon transports us to the next location. Thankfully, there's a connection to the in-between theater. The hosts give me the ability to travel through time to accomplish any of these side missions I didn't get to. I de-digivolve Devimon into Agumon Black, who I then digivolve into Cordramon Blue, and then back into Wingdramon. I completed an outer dungeon and obtained Repamon. After doing some side missions, I increased my agent rank to 7, allowing me to digivolve Weregarurumon into Metal Garurumon, Groundramon into Breakdramon, Rise Greymon into Shine Greymon, and Divermon into Neptunemon. After a lot of grinding, I digivolve Metal Greymon into Black War Greymon, Colamon into Metal Tyrannomon, Orochimon into Minervamon, Weregarurumon Black into Metal Garurumon, Savior Hugmon into Jesmon, Piximon into Venusmon, Metal Tyrannomon into Machinedramon, then Machinedramon and Chimeramon into Millenniumon, Wingdramon into Slayerdramon, Sirenmon into Ceresmon. I then changed Ceresmon's mode. After some more grinding, I combined Slayerdramon and Breakdramon into Examon. I combined Black War Greymon and Metal Garurumon Black into Omnimon Zwart as well. I also digivolved Minervamon into Mervamon and Shine Greymon into Shine Greymon Burst Mode. Once I finished training, it was time to resume with the mission of defeating Coronamon. I joined Marsmon in fighting Creepymon. We have to defeat Chimeramon and Machinedramon before we can fight Creepymon. I take them out pretty quick. Calismon then joins us to fight Creepymon. Creepymon has 2 Millenniummons assisting him. So yeah, with my powered up Digimon, this fight was pretty easy. I had Omnimon's Wart do some solid damage against the Millenniummon on the right. I switched Metal Garurumon out with Shine Greymon, who does some solid damage against the Millenniummon on the left. The Millenniummons increased how many times they can act. Bruh. Venusmon almost dies from the relentless attacks. Marsmon did some solid damage against Creepymon. I heal Venusmon up and use my cross art skill. Agio Chusmon's Holy Spread attack does massive damage to all of them. I had Venusmon attack Creepymon and her attack debuffed him, lowering his attacks. I then had Shine Greymon nuke the enemy. The 2 Millenniummon are finished off and Creepymon took a lot of damage. The downside though was that the attack ate up Shine Greymon's SP. Omnimon does big damage as well. After a few more turns, Creepymon is defeated. Marsmon and Calismon stay behind to help us get to Coronamon. Pegasusmon takes us to a forest area where we need to get some berries to help Bacchusmon gain the strength he needs to be able to break Chronomon's wing that's blocking the path. So we collect the fruits, but each time I have to defeat enemy Digimon. The third fruit, however, we have to fight the Demon Lord Lilithmon. I lead with Shine Greymon, Omnimon Zwart, and Venusmon. I don't know why they didn't have Agiomon join in this fight, but whatever. Shine Greymon does solid damage against her, and Omnimon does massive damage to her as well. Venusmon takes big damage from the Cerberus Mons. Jeez, she's so frail. I heal her up and buff everyone with my cross art skill. Venusmon doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but she debuffed Lilithmon's attacks. Lotusmon, Rosemon, and Griffinmon come to aid me in this fight. Shine Greymon and Omnimon continue to bully Lilithmon. Cerberusmon do barely any damage, and thankfully Venusmon was able to dodge the first one's attack and block the second. I had her create a speed field, which I don't know why I did that because it didn't change anything. I had Shine Greymon use his special attack, which does massive damage to Lilithmon and did some damage to the Cerberus Mons. Omnimon's Wart continues to do big damage against Lilithmon. Venusmon gets badly injured, so I switched her with Metal Garurumon. I heal Shine Greymon's pain. I then buff everyone with my cross art skill, and I had Metal Garurumon do some good damage against one of the Cerberus Mons. Shine Greymon finishes Lilithmon off, and not much longer Metal Garurumon finishes the last Cerberus Mon off. We then take the last fruit to Bacchusmon, who is then able to break Chronomon's wing, allowing us to get to Whalemon to continue with getting to Chronomon. We find Venusmon, who informs us that Neptunemon is currently holding off Leviamon. She requests that we help rescue the injured allies, and we do so. As we go around aiding our allies, Sharkmon and his followers come to assist with fighting the enemy so that Venusmon can heal the injured. With that finished up, I joined Neptunemon to defeat Leviamon, who was by far the easiest fight since it was only Leviamon. I lead with Shine Greymon, Omnimon, and Metal Garurumon. I buffed them all with my cross art skill, and Agiomon joins the fight this time. Metal Garurumon doesn't do any crazy damage since he's a data type. Shine Greymon does solid damage, and Omnimon does massive damage and gets some extra attacks in. Agiochessmon does good damage as well. Venusmon debuffs Leviamon, and I just rinse and repeat. Except that I had Shine Greymon buff Omnimon's physical attack, allowing him to do insane damage. Neptunemon does good damage, and Agiochessmon finishes him off. I head through the gate where I find Volcanismon and Junomon. Junomon created a gate that would lead us directly to Chronomon, and they started to build a bridge, but the batteries were stolen, and they needed us to get the batteries back. So I battled the stupid thieves and retrieved the batteries. They finished the bridge, and Lucidmon appears to block our way. Here we go again. I lead with the same Digimon. I had Metal Garurumon do some damage and lower his resistance to ice attacks. Shine Greymon does some decent damage to him. I then buff all of their stats with my cross arts. Omnimon gets some big damage off. Agiochessmon does some strong damage. Both Junomon and Volcanismon do good damage. Lucidmon hits everyone, and Metal Garurumon takes the most damage. I heal everyone up and lower his ice resistance again. Shine Greymon and Omnimon get him down to around a quarter of his health. Lucidmon then reverses his type. Bruh. This made Agiochessmon's attacks useless. Junomon and Volcanismon still do solid damage to him. Metal Garurumon then finishes him off. I get to the other side of the gate and find Minervamon, Apollomon, and Dianamon. A portal is causing enemy Digimon to get in their way, so Minervamon asks us to assist her to allow Apollomon and Dianamon time to charge up for a strong attack to destroy the portal. The task is pretty easy until Biezomon appears. I use the same strategy to beat him. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say about this fight because it was pretty easy as well. Apollomon and Dianamon clear the path for us, and I go through the gate. Am I in Central Town? Yeah, this is some kind of weird dream place. So I wander around for a bit. It seemed to be a loop of different places I've been to, and Marukimon tries to get a hold of me, but there's an interference with the connection. I then find a weird looking Digimon and attack it. Well, that didn't do anything. As I continue with the loop, I find more of the strange Digimon and keep destroying them. I then see Nanimon running away. Okay, random. After destroying enough of them, I enter a new room. Nanimon starts freaking out, but chill out. I destroy the last Belphamon sleep form, and now I have to fight the real form. Despite not having Agumon with me, this fight isn't hard. Nanimon was completely useless. Meanwhile, Shine Greymon and Omnimon just carried this fight. I continue to use the same strategy because at this point, why fix it if it isn't broken? I get him to around a quarter of his health and Marukimon comes to help me finish Belphemon off, which I honestly didn't need because my Digimon finished Belphemon off. Nanimon tries to steal the credit for beating Belphemon. Dude, you were completely useless. Marukimon roasts him as well. What a dumb idiot. Marukimon gets me out of the dream place and takes me to the group. It was finally time to stop Coronamon once and for all. Minervamon is the first to join us in this fight. Coronamon hits everyone, but it was a pretty weak attack. So Coronamon is a massive cheater and starts with every buff possible. What the heck? I had Metagarurumon lower his ice resistance. I then had Shine Greymon buff Omnimon because at this point he's the only one who's going to get any solid damage off. Meanwhile, Coronamon is monologuing for the last time. No one cares anymore at this point. Omnimon barely does any damage. You gotta be kidding me. Agiochessmon barely does any damage, but he also lowers Chronomon's resistance to the holy element. So yeah, we're pretty much at a freaking stalemate at this point. He gets a super attack off and luckily none of my Digimon die from it. Jeez, things start to look pretty bad for us. But then a hero comes to our rescue. Omnimon, with permission from the host, uses his powerful attacks to break Chronomon's stupid barriers, and then he leaves. Neptunemon, Marukimon, and Venusmon then take Minervamon's place. With Chronomon's buffs removed, my Digimon start putting in work, but still he has a lot of freaking defense and health. Chronomon then debuffs all of their defenses and confuses Metagarurumon, Agiochessmon, and Shine Greymon. I continue to chip at his health and heal occasionally. Venusmon would occasionally heal everyone as well. After knocking about a quarter of his health off, he then uses his time powers and heals. Brother, what are you doing? Yeah, this is fine. Marsmon, Bacchusmon, and Volcanismon sub in. I swapped Shine Greymon and Venusmon so that I can have a healer. After another 4 minutes of the fight, we get him back down just for him to heal again. Plutomon and Junomon sub in. Chronomon hits everyone hard, so I heal them up and I continue to attack him. Venusmon gets pretty low on health. I have her heal everyone since Agiochessmon and Metagarurumon were pretty hurt as well, just for Chronomon to hit everyone hard. I heal everyone back up. After I get some damage on him, he attacks twice and causes Venusmon to fall. Oh, there went our support. I bring Jessmon out, we remove the quarter health again, he tries to heal again, but this time, he doesn't heal completely. Finally, I heal my Digimon up and he forces them into their baby forms. Is this guy a sore loser or something? If he wants to lose, why is he putting up such a fight? Apollomon and Dianamon step in to aid us. The good thing though is that we can finally do some real damage to Chronomon. My Digimon don't do much damage in their current state, but hey, damage is damage. Chronomon also doesn't seem to do much damage, thankfully. Dianamon buffs everyone's defense. Agiochessmon then evolves my Digimon to their rookie stages. Now my Digimons do slightly more damage, but it's kind of hard to tell. Chronomon hits everyone pretty hard again. I healed them and continued to attack. Chronomon starts getting confused why he's not sensing any hatred in Agumon. Agumon answers that it's thanks to the bonds that he forged and then evolves my Digimon to their champion stages. The damage is still about the same. After Dianamon gets some damage off, Agiochessmon digi-evolve my Digimon into their ultimate forms. Again, the damage isn't anything crazy, but we continue anyways. Apollomon also does some damage to Coronamon. He then causes some of the Digimon to get confused. Here, this crap again. I heal Metal Greymon and Agiochessmon of their confused status and continue to deal damage. Agiochessmon then digivolve them into their mega forms. Damage seems to pick up a little, and soon all of my Digimon return to their forms. Chronomon tries to annihilate us. Apollomon and Dianamon shield us from the attack. Ceresimon interrupts Coronamon, and Minervamon comes back to join the fight. Dianamon and Apollomon share their remaining strength with Minervamon. We continue the fight. Minervamon then digivolves into Mervamon. Her attack lowers Chronomon's defense Not much longer, we finally defeat Chronomon. Aegiomon and I fuse into Jupitermon and deliver the fatal blow to Chronomon. With Chronomon gone, it's Jupitermon's responsibility to become the new keeper of time, and Inori gets very emotional. Aegiomon and I then split. Aegiomon decides that he can handle the rest and assigns me to watch over Inori. With that, we return to the human world where the gate had never opened and Inori still has her family, in which I happen to meet Inori and you. Inori then recognizes me as Aegiomon, and with that comes the credits. Man, this was a really fun challenge and a fun game, strong story, such a long project in the making. And I would love to do another Digimon Nuzlocke. And it's been so satisfying to be able to make this video for y'all. If y'all have enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and hype it up so that others can see it. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to subscribe and become a member to help support the channel. If this video gets 500 likes or more, I'll definitely be sure to make another Digimon Nuzlocke. If you're a fan of Nuzlockes, then be sure to go check out my Nuzlocke attempt of Monster Hunter Stories 3.